tell me about Fred and how that situation developed.
Fred, I think, was about 6 years old when he got his first bout of cancer. And it was sort of an absolute shock. It was a shock because I thought I was feeding him a good diet. It was not, it was a proprietary diet, so it came out of a dry packet. He would have a few bits and pieces as well. And never expected him, as a fit and healthy dog of his age, to end up with cancer. But of course boxers can be a little bit prone to cancer. Certain breeds tend to have a bit more tendency to get certain cancers. And unfortunately Fred was one of them.
So that was his first bout, was it when he was about 6. So how was that treated?
Surgically. And that was it really. That was all the advice that was given in those days. Feed a good quality food, and we'll cut it out. Yeah. Cut out the offending item, shall we say, the tumour.
Good quality food came out of a packet.
Yes, because the vets were also selling veterinary diets which had been manufactured by the bigger pet food manufacturers.
So then, did Fred have further bouts of cancer and further problems, or?
He was fine for a year or so, and then about 2 years later he developed another tumour, which was devastating because I thought we'd been doing everything right. And it was at that point when I was really lucky that we had a vet who'd come to work at the vets where I was working, who'd come in from New Zealand, and he was a little bit more alternative. We actually thought he was quite funny. But when watching the customers go in to see him, they'd come back out and they would say, "Oh, he's a bit different." And we'd be nosy, as you always are. And you'd say, "Well, what did he say?" And they'd say, "Oh, well, he gave the dog an injection, and he's given me some tablets and a diet sheet." And we didn't know anything really about this diet sheet, but it was actually a raw diet that he was advocating. And when you saw the difference that those dogs went through, the improvement in their health, it was before your eyes, wasn't it?
So that led you to then think about a raw diet for Fred?
Yes. And that was where it really all started. It took me a month, so I went to see Tony and I said, "Tony, what's this raw diet you're talking about then?" He said, "Well, basically you've got a third meat, a third vegetables, and if you want a third some oats, you can add oats." And I said, "Well, what's the oats for? Because I don't want the carbohydrates." Because I'd already had come to the idea that the carbohydrate was the one that we wanted to avoid, because that's what turns to sugars, and that's what most cancers feed from. So I said to him, "Well, what about the carbohydrate?" He said, "Oh no, that's just a filler, you don't have to put it in." And I thought, that's it. That has to be the answer. And it did. It really, really worked. But it took me a month to get over it. So I said, "Well, where do you get it from, Tony?" And he said, "Oh, you have to phone up these people for the meat, and you can get, there's a few pet food manufacturers or dog meat manufacturers. They weren't pet food manufacturers, dog meat manufacturers, and you can get some from them. And then you go down the market and you get all the bits and pieces off the vegetable stores." So it took me about a month to get my head around it. And I thought, right, we'll give it a go. And Fred looked at me and said, "Where's me dinner?" And I said, "Fred, this is your dinner." And he said, "No, it's not. Where's my dinner? My dinner's dry. I don't eat this wet stuff." So we had this small argument for 3 days. At the end of 3 days, I was going, "Fred, this is going to save your life." And he said, "Yes, okay, but where's my dinner?" And in the end, I picked a handful out threw it in his mouth, and he went, "Oh, this is all right." And we never looked back after that. So when he was 8 years old, when he went onto the raw diet, and he lived till he was nearly 14 and a half without any more incidences of cancer. So it was, and he was really quite fit and healthy.